Hey there, it's Ashton. Before you begin reading the article, I wanted to elaborate a little further on one of the techniques that I share in it, the technique called Hooponopono. Now this is a fascinating technique that's grown in popularity pretty quickly. This was created by a guy named Dr. Hugh Len, who is a Huna out in Hawaii. And he used this technique when he was a practicing, I believe he was a therapist or a psychologist. They had him working in one of the most terrible, high-security prisons for the mentally ill and the criminally insane out in Hawaii. And when he agreed to take the job there, he said, "I'll take the job. They simply need somebody to fill the position." But it was under the agreement that he wasn't going to actually meet with the patients. You know, these were people that were strapped down, restrained most of the day, never let out of their cells because they were in danger of hurting themselves or hurting other people or even murdering people. So his agreement was that he wasn't going to meet with these people face to face at all. He was going to sit in his office, and all that he did while he was in this position was sit in his office and one by one pull out these files of each patient that worked there, and he used this technique on it. He used the Hooponopono technique. So he read through their files and he repeated this mantra over and over and over again. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And over the course of a couple years of him working here doing nothing but this, the entire institution was completely transformed. Many of the prisoners that were completely condemned to living the rest of their lives in solitary confinement or restrained were actually recovering. They were being let out of their cells. They were beginning to show signs of healthy progression, and some of them were even released. He completely transformed this entire institution by doing nothing but sitting in his office looking through these patients' files and using the Hooponopono technique. So all of this is explained further in a book by Joe Vitale. It's called Zero Limits. I highly recommend reading this book, and I highly recommend checking out this technique. This technique, in my opinion, is spiritual genius. It may sound overly simplistic, but when you really look at the very foundation of this technique, it's based upon some of the deepest spiritual truth that there is. This is based upon the fact that we're all connected, that all is one, that love is one of the most powerful transformative forces in the entire universe. And this technique is all about learning to accept, learning to make things that we see as separate from ourselves at one with ourselves again. And just this very, very simple mentality, this very simple philosophy has the ability to make incredibly profound changes in your life. I've personally had some really profound, pretty miraculous experiences using Hooponopono. Personal relationships, work, it's actually incredibly practical. It's helped me in different aspects of work life for quite a few years now. And it also works with, personal issues with yourself, dealing with the shadow or the part of yourself that you really don't like. And of course, in the context of this article, it's really useful in helping you to heal painful memories, painful relationships, or anything from your past that's holding you back, limiting you, making you experience negative emotions on a day-to-day basis. So I hope you enjoy the article, and I will be talking to you again in the very near future.